All right. Take 3. There were 4 themes that I identified in these readings. The first is reduction of welfare resulting in greater social problems. So the first article, that would be the reduction of welfare leading to an increase in incarceration. And in the second article, that would be a reduction in welfare leading to increased levels of homelessness. A second theme would be redirection of attention. And so in both of these articles, the government that is instituting, in the first article, harsher punitive policies, and in the second article, medicalizing policies to treat homeless populations. They're both redirecting attention away from a larger structural issue and blaming individuals or scapegoating and stigmatizing the populations that they're working with. So in the first article, that would be the incarcerated folks. The article says that when Republicans are in positions of power in state governments, incarceration rates tend to go up. Republicans run on these law and order policy campaigns. So the stated idea, so there's a redirection of attention here, because the real cause of rising incarceration rates is that welfare systems have gone away and people turn to crime. The government redirects that attention and says, no, there's just rising crime because people are bad and we need to deal with them. In the second article, there's a redirection of attention away from the economic systems that contribute to homelessness as a social issue. The term in the article was the upward redistribution of wealth to describe the neoliberal policies of Reagan. When he cut welfare, he cut aid to families with dependent children, things like that. In the 1981 ORBA. And so that's redirecting the attention away from these welfare cuts, the upward redistribution, and on to instead homeless individuals who are stigmatized and villainized, as exemplified by the excerpts from the New York Times and the depictions of homeless people in media by the authors as and they report that the media depicts homeless people as these they depict them in a very derogatory and negative way as uncleanly and insane and things like that. And so it's kind of redirecting public attention onto the individuals rather than the social problem that's causing the structural issues that are causing the social problem. Third, in both articles, the government is justifying its own increased intervention in social and economic life. So in the first article, the government is saying there's crime and we have to solve it, so we need to incarcerate more people. And at the same time pulling away on the welfare side with the message of big government is bad. But that's not really what they're asking us to do as they say, not as they do, because they're saying big government is bad and then they're pulling away spending in the name of big government is bad. But then they come in on the other side with the right hand of the state and institute big government in the penal sphere. On the other end, in the second article, the government is, there was a quote that said, I'm paraphrasing, but if we construct homelessness as a welfare problem, then the state is fully responsible for it. If we construct homelessness as a mental health problem, the state is not responsible for it, but it does justify the state's intervention. And so it's just this idea of, if we medicalize it, then it's the individual's fault and the state's prerogative, which justifies government intervention. The fourth theme was stated versus real purpose. The stated purpose being, in the first article, dealing with rising crime rates. The real purpose being that the government has to deal with these marginal populations as America's population increases and there's more inequality. There will be more socially marginalized groups, and they have to be dealt with somehow. And so this article argues that the state deals with them by locking them up. and the stated versus the real purpose in the second article. The stated purpose of the policies that say, you know, that instruct police officers, mental health workers, etc., to round up homeless people and put them in hospitals against their will. The stated purpose is to prevent them from freezing to death during the cold winter months. The real purpose is just to get them out of public view because people don't like looking at homeless people and it reflects poorly on the city. This is evidenced by the fact that most of the roundups occurred in indoor spaces where people wouldn't freeze to death anyway, and by the fact that these roundups continued into the summer months, which doesn't make any sense if your concern is freezing. So something I found surprising was that Billy Boggs didn't win her case on appeal. I thought that after the scathing opinion of the district court in her favor, that the appellate court would also find in her favor. I shouldn't have been surprised that she lost, but I was. And what I found insightful was analyzing the issues of incarceration and homelessness from a welfare standpoint. Obviously, it's not like it's not like no one's ever thought about this before, but I think that we think about these issues as, you know, incarceration as a crime issue and homelessness as obviously as an economy issue, but more of like, I don't think that we ever think of it as this directly connected to welfare. And I think that it's insightful to think of it that way because obviously with the punitive turn in the 80s with Reagan, this is such a big moment for welfare cuts and such a big moment for an increase in incarceration and an increase in homelessness. And so I think that it's worthy of analysis. And I thought that the way that both articles connected the topics was insightful.